when divine synchronicities show up in my life, after me delving to the deepest place that I am capable of within my heart and soul, where I make conscious connected with the I am that rests in holy union with the God beyond, birth of all life, the mysterious presence. And I see signs here in the physical universe popping up. That reading of the daily word, I shared that in a finance team meeting a couple of months ago. As we physically can watch trends of income, especially with summer months happening, okay, I don't usually talk about that, but we do need to be in the flow of money for all of us in this physical world. So as I've been watching a little bit of that trend, lo and behold, the daily word reading to remind me, but we are the hands and feet. We are God with skin. And so I know we're going to come up with creative ways to demonstrate. And we are open to unexpected sources of income, but we will not sit in blind faith. We will use our divine wisdom to come up with these ideas and to be the flow itself. So I just wanted to say that, because it just lit my heart up when that was our daily word reading today. All right, so today we're going to talk about our power of will, and specifically looking at personal will, the will of our human self, and divine will, which is also AKA been called God's will. And I want to start us off with a video that has a lot of metaphor in it from Bruce Almighty. Here we see Jim Carrey plays the role of a man who is not happy with his life. And, he wanted to get this role, have the head anchor position in this news organization in Buffalo. And he was looked over and he's just miserable and negative. He's living in victim consciousness. He doesn't believe in God, and who is God anyway, right? And so he gets this, this opportunity to meet God, the anthropomorphic God, which is not something we profess, but you have free will to choose whatever you want, who is played by Morgan Freeman. And so just be real quick with this. If you haven't seen it, it's hysterical. And it does also have a lot of spiritual messaging in it. But he says, okay, you think you could do better than me? You don't believe? I'm going to give you all the power. And so he starts using that power for personal agendas. Okay. And then life begins to not turn out so good. And so this is at that moment when he realizes that, so they're going to play that clip.
You can't kneel down in the middle of a highway and live to talk about it, son.
But why? Why now?
Bruce, you have the divine spark. You have the gift for bringing joy and laughter to the world. I know, I created you.
Quit bragging.
See, that's what I'm talking about. That's the spark.
What do you want me to do?
I want you to pray, son. Go ahead. Use them.
Lord, feed the hungry and bring peace to all of mankind. How's that?
Great. If you want to be Miss America. Now, come on. What do you really care about?
Grace.
Grace, you want it back?
No. I want her to be happy. No matter what that means. I want her to find someone who'll treat her with all the love she deserved from me. I want her to meet someone who'll see her always as I do now. Through your eyes.
Now that's a prayer.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's good.
It's good.
It's good. I'm gonna get right on it.
Whoa! It didn't feel very good.
And again, if you haven't seen it already, I invite you to do it. I've seen it and I'm going to go see it again. I want to go see it again. So here, Bruce, played by Jim Carrey, was at a very serious choice point in his life. And when asked by God, Morgan Freeman, so what do you really care? What is the prayer of your heart? And first he's like, okay, world peace, so on and so on. And then he jokes, okay, well, that would be great if you're Miss America. And then he said to really discern, he didn't use these words. What is it that you really care about? And as he delved deep within, not his personal will, but the highest will that he can get in touch with the choice that is aligned with the highest good was revealed. The desire of his spiritual heart, his wise soul was revealed. And he says the words grace, which also could be a metaphor, right? How many of us, when we've been down and out in a really serious situation and we're faced with a choice, be it a diagnosis, of treatment, or, choosing a treatment, a job, any other, big decision. And Carolyn Mace would say there are no really small decisions, right? Because they all lead to the outpicturing of our experience collectively. But at that moment of choice, deep within, right, we call upon grace, something greater than our humanness. But it was Grace, his girlfriend, for her to be happy, to be with somebody, to be able to give her the love that she deserved, love he couldn't give from his human self because he was too busy being the victim. Right? Too busy allowing all of his woes, his unhappiness with his job, the world, and everybody around him just spilled out all over him into the world, into their relationship. Anybody ever relate to being in one of those moods? But as a deeper choice was illuminated within his soul, he chose for the highest, for grace. And usually when it is for the highest good of our soul, it means it is also, even though we may not see it in the moment, for the highest good of all in some shape or way. So all of us, right? When we have that, whether it be small choices or big choices, from what place in consciousness are we choosing? From our ego, from our reactive self, or something much greater within us? Will is one of our 12 spiritual powers, and it is our divine ability to choose, to commit, to be willing, and to be determined. And I'm going to hone in today specifically about will. Again, thy will be done, meaning personal will versus a higher divine will. But before I do, I know not everybody may be familiar with Unity's 12 spiritual powers. So here they are on the screen: life, faith, understanding, power, imagination, strength, wisdom, love, will, release, order, and zeal. Charles Fillmore, co-founder of Unity, studied these powers. He was a devout student of the Bible, Hebrew scriptures, Christian scriptures, and he believed that the Bible was not, and other Bible scholars of today, he was maybe one of the people in New Thought before his time, look at the Bible as our aspects of our own soul, the journey of our own awakening. And that the names, the places, it's like an allegory, were about those aspects of our own soul, desiring to express and to come into fruition in our life. And so the 12 apostles or disciples of Jesus mentioned in the Christian scriptures, they represent aspects, those divine abilities that are innate within all of us. AKA, life is represented by the apostle Judith, faith, by Peter, love, by John, and so on and so on, and will is of Matthew. And so we always, these are innate abilities within all of us. It's like the electricity. This building is wired for electricity. And when the lights are off, it doesn't mean it's not wired for electricity. It just means we can't see it in action. So when we live unconsciously, unaware of what these spiritual abilities are, then they outpicture by default of where we are operating in our consciousness. So it is one of the things within his teachings is to really understand what these powers are that we are all innately imbued with. And it is our task to not use them from personal will or sense consciousness or by default from our wounds or whatever is most alive, but from the highest place that we are capable of in consciousness, which is the I am, the Christ consciousness, illuminated consciousness, which is a spiritual discipline and practice. So for today, we will focus on, again, will, or power of choice, commitment, to be willing and to be determined, but with the focus of exploring personal will, divine will. So divine will actually comes from the phrase God's will, which has been misinterpreted from the religious scriptures and other texts. Now, again, anything I share, you have the right to take it or leave it, okay? So God's will is reflected. I want to hone in, even though it was in the Christian scriptures, I want to focus on two specific points within the Christian scriptures that have to do with Jesus, the wisdom teacher, in prayer. And one is from Matthew 6, the Lord's Prayer. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. And here, when he's going to pray with the disciples and metaphysically calling up all his spiritual powers from the highest place, Because will, right, our power of choice is what Charles Fillmore called our executive power, because we use will to choose how we will energize all our other powers, right? So here he is. He knew that the Roman authorities were after him for speaking blasphemy, for teaching about the kingdom of God is within, for teaching that of the power of love, that everybody has sacred worth, not being afraid to teach that, not hide his light under a bushel, so to speak. And the consequence was blasphemy and crucifixion, because the Roman Empire were the gods and had all the authorities, and they didn't want people to think that that power was within them. So knowing that what was maybe going to befall him for speaking truth to power on that Passover feast, when he went into Jerusalem on the donkey, he went to the Garden of Gethsemane and he prayed, "Yet not my will, but your will." And so this has been falsely misinterpreted, because again, some of the scriptures written in Greek, after some of it wasn't written till 30, 40 years after the death of Jesus, and Jesus spoke in Aramaic. So as some of the newer gospels have been unearthed in the 1940s, we get a deeper understanding from those lost gospels. And again, back in Jesus' day, the language was the male dominant language. So it's been falsely kind of interpreted that it was Jesus having, in an act of submission, right, wondering with a male figure, father figure out there, was going to choose for him in that moment, right? And so we have to then take a step back and ask ourselves, and you have the right to believe whatever you want, and we know the mystery of God is that, just a mystery. I can tell you what I profess, which is in alignment with Unity's teachings and other things I explore, right? And it is actually not believing in the anthropomorphic being is one of the reasons Carolyn Mace says that taking a human figure and giving them superpowers and the male patriarchal energy of dominance is what's dying. And one of the reasons why there's a decline in church attendance, because people are trying to figure out God is everywhere, right? We believe that. So it wasn't an act of submission at all. So let us just, again, review what New Thought defines and other faith traditions and science defines possibly as what we believe as God. Today, again, synchronicity, principle one of unity, God is. God is the infinite field of pure potential and birther of all life. It is mystery. And when Jesus says, "Our Father," the Aramaic translation is birther of the cosmos. Birther of the cosmos. Also, metaphysically, Father means desiring to ascend from my personal will, my personal consciousness, to the I am, higher consciousness. And here we have Myrtle Fillmore, co-founder of Unity, which happens to be the anniversary of her birthday today, and another birthday to celebrate. I have a deep affinity for Myrtle Fillmore. God is it, neither male nor female, but principle. And principle is God demonstrating as us, demonstrating the principles of love, of life, of wisdom. And we can look to Carolyn Mace, another one of my favorite teachers. My concept of God is law. The manifestation of the divine is law and nature and the governing systems of nature, all the laws that operate the life force to me are a representation of the nature of the divine. So we've heard God's will, like it was God's will, I forget the names that I chose, that Frank Raziano and Bruno Dillinger escaped from 9/11 and didn't die. But does that mean it was God's will that the almost 3,000 other people who died, that was God's will then? I'm just saying, like, just things to ponder, right? So what we come to realize too is, do you believe that we have free will? Or do you think that there is a father figure, or whatever figure you have made, discerning what choices you should make? I'm just curious. It's not right or wrong. I may be passionate about something, but I know, this is just me aligned with what I believe, but you may be aligned with something else. Does anybody else believe that we have free will? Let's just start there. Okay, in the chat box, maybe. So then maybe, possibly, rather than an act of submission, right, or punishment, because the crucifixion is around the energy of what we have been told about Jesus. Yes, he was, but a lot of times we were given the story that he was crucified, he came in, and his whole purpose was to save us all for our sins. Well, think about it. Does that mean I could do whatever the hell I want now? Because Jesus saved us. It's done. Or does it maybe mean something else? That in that moment, when Jesus was praying in the Garden of Gethsemane, he was asking to surrender. Surrender my will, my personal will, to that of the divine will. Father, birther of the universe, let me be lifted in consciousness, divine soul that is in holy union with God beyond and all that is revealed to me, my highest calling in this moment. Pretty powerful. It makes me love Jesus even more. I'm just saying. And so we see when he was in the Garden of Gethsemane that he experienced conflict between his human will and divine will, or if you want to call it God's will. Human will, we see it in Matthew 26:39. Isn't it appropriate? It's the Gospel of Matthew, the apostle of will. Any coincidence? I don't think so. Power of choice, right? Personal will, divine will. Personal will might have been like this, and I'm not saying he said this, but I'm just saying. Here it is. Going a little farther, he fell with his face to the ground and prayed, "My Father, birther of the cosmos, creator of all life, the light of life, if it is possible, may this cup be taken from me. Yet not as I will, but as you will." Again, no language, the male dominant language. The mystics, because we believe in the paradox of God is impersonal, meaning we have free will, not orchestrating everything in our lives, not choosing for us, and yet we have a personal experience. Maybe when Joe was talking about that personal experience of that holy moment, that holy instant of knowing oneness with that group, that was a personal experience of the divine. So sometimes there's no language for it, so we use the language we know, hence the Father of the day and the pronouns he. So here, Could his human will was saying, can this cup pass from me? How many of you have had a hard choice and it's like, I wish I don't have to choose here. This is really hard. Maybe I'm just not going to decide. And maybe with human will, what it meant, let this cup pass. How can I escape? Maybe, because he went to wisdom school and learned about the power of the mind, the power to lift in consciousness, his healing abilities. Maybe he could make himself translocate somewhere, right? But then what would that mean? If he was in hiding, he was all about preaching the truth. What would happen if he went into hiding? Was that in alignment with the truth of his soul? Or if he went to them and say, because Pontius Pilate, the governor at the time, gave him choice, do you really believe that you are the Son of God? Meaning that you have been birthed from, that all of us are. And he taught that each one of you were, that the kingdom of God was within, and about equal sacredness and worth, because we are all lights of God. He said, do you believe that? Well, he could have said, no, you know what? All that is just a bunch of crap to get himself away. Then would that be in alignment with who he was and his integrity and what he came in for, his sole purpose? And so when he gets in touch with the higher purpose of knowing why he's there, no, he couldn't not tell the truth of what he professed, what he believed, what was in alignment with what he felt he was here to do. And so the consequence of the day, if you spoke about the power within, the kingdom within, or anybody else having spiritual authority, but the Roman Empire, it was blasphemy with death, crucifixion. So many of the religious mystics were faced with that. As I'm studying Teresa of Avila, she was actually like Jesus, born Jewish, but she couldn't say or talk about her Jewish roots because of the Spanish Inquisition. She could not. And so, my friends, I just want to summarize a little bit about divine will. Divine will is not an external force, but an internal source of guidance that arises from our spiritual soul, our companions, our spiritual powers of understanding and wisdom from our highest place. All our powers are working together, but those are definitely in union with choice that is unified with the birther of life, God beyond, that reveals the guidance that is aligned with the divine truth that leads to our soul's evolution and empowerment. And guess what? When divine will is revealed within you, it does not always make sense. A lot of times it is scary. It could possibly be the fear that arises when making that conscious choice to start a new study, that your soul is beckoning from you after experiencing divine discontent, and you do that soul searching. And so going within is so important because, see, from our personal will, we want it to be easy. We want it to make us comfortable. We want to have recognition, and we want to make lots of money with the least amount of effort. Now, hey, I am like many days, I'm in. I'm buying the Mega Million. So on and so on. So we have to understand that. This surrendering and going within is a mystical act. And so I just want to go over some of these qualities to help maybe determine, really, you know the voice of your highest. You know when you are in that holy union. But these are some characteristics that might help you. So as we see, so my will, Avoid self-reflection. I'm just going to stuff it all down. Desire to know thyself, my humanity and my divinity, because I need to synchronize it with my humanity. I need to allow my human self, I need to recognize when I'm there, not to curse it, but to allow it to surrender to my divinity, to that which is beyond me. It also is not willing to be with discomfort or pain. Whereas divine will is able to sit with the discomfort. Doesn't mean it's easy. Face down, let this cup pass from me. But we stand in the pain. Spiritual transformation is dying to the old. My will is fueled by fear, anxiety, judgment, and doubt, whereas divine will, the signs are calling forth divine understanding, wisdom, and love, and we move to certitude, which is divine faith. My will is all about survival, whereas divine will is about evolution, not just my evolution, but yours, and I don't even need to know how that's going to happen. Victim, I have no choice. Knowing we live, that there are limitless possibilities, I have free will. My will, the least amount of effort avoids change or taking risks. I'm willing to take courageous action and to maybe say what needs to be said that is aligned with truth. Impatience versus patience. Self-importance, will you recognize me, rather than humility. Let the truth speak for itself. Self-centered, what I want, rather selfless, what is for the greater good of grace, right? We saw that this morning. And the love of power versus the power of love. Now, my friends, the divine mystics, be it Buddha, be it Jesus, be it Teresa Avila, be it Yogananda, be it Ram Dass, we can keep going on and on, right? We can say, wow, they really had something special to be able to surrender personal will to divine will. They must have been imbued with special gifts. But what is their message to all of us? Right? This different language, the kingdom of God is within. These things and more you can do. For you are the very child of the birther of all life. You are God in expression. You're not the fullness and allness of God, but you are a point of light expressing as God. We all have that within us, but what they were was very disciplined in their spiritual studies and disciplined in contemplative prayer, meditation. Not once in a while, not 2 minutes, but the key for them was really spending that time in contemplation. And my friends, you can even start by looking for those small choices, which we would say small, not starting with, oh my God, I just lost my job, what am I going to do? But, okay, I need to engage in more self-care, self-love. Now, maybe from personal will, I'm going to get my nails done. Now, it's not bad. Our humanity, we're not trying to, it's not bad. It is an escape. It is a pleasure of beauty and creativity for me. But if I really want to search my soul, doesn't mean I'm going to stop getting my nails done, but I'm real clear. If I go deeper, what is an act of self-love? Divine soul. For me, it led me to having a spiritual director. Started way back when, 10, 12 years ago. And it was with somebody I'll never forget her. The first one was somebody through Carolyn Mace's Institute. Now I have someone from a minister of unity who's a spiritual director, and somebody in Carolyn Mace's thing. That was it. They make you look at yourself. It's not comfortable. You got to sit in the dark. You got to sit with your feelings. But that is a profound act of love that comes from my higher place. Walking into the bakery, smelling, or a restaurant, let's say, smelling the pizza, wafting the fresh Italian bread. That's mine. That's a weakness, right? And maybe the doctor told me this is not for me, but I'm just giving this example. You know, you have celiac, or you can't have sugar because your numbers are up. And so from sense consciousness, oh my God, give me a slice. It's not the end of the world, friends, because we are to enjoy all these creations, but is that of your souls, or is that my sense consciousness, personal desire versus the highest for me? So you could start with the small stuff. All right, we're going to end. So I invite you into that, looking at your power of choice. What's the highest divine will here? But I also invite you into, many of you are, meditation, contemplative prayer. And so we're going to end with just that. So why don't we begin? I'm just going to grab a sip of water here. So I invite you to begin to close your eyes and notice your body. Notice whatever is supporting your body. And bring your awareness to any sensations that are alive within your body. Perhaps for grounding, if it feels right, rub the sides of your legs or move your fingers across your lips. Sensing your feet grounded. Sensing what's alive within your feet. Are they warm? Are they cool? Are they tight or loose? Bringing your awareness to your spine and your back, allowing all of your muscles to loosen and let go, perhaps circulating your shoulders, bringing them forward, bringing them backward. And now bring your awareness to your breath. Allowing yourself to take deep breaths in and out. In and out. Now sensing that breath now emanating deep, deep, deep within the chambers of your spiritual heart. As we call forth the synchronization of the unified heart-mind. In this moment, search your heart, your soul. Where are you being called to surrender to divine will? To have divine will to be revealed to you. What choices lie before you? My dear, precious, 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 beloved lights, precious souls. And let my will, the will of my human self, let it surrender and dissolve into holy union with divine will. May the holy union of heaven and earth be alive within me. As we ask for divine will to be revealed within your very own soul. And I invite you to affirm after me, either silently or aloud. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know I am. Be still and know. Be still. Be in the stillness, in holy union. Not my will, but thy will, divine will. Let it be revealed. Oh, birther of the cosmos, you create all that moves in light. Oh, focus your light within me as I breathe your holy breath. Let divine will be ignited in my heart, uniting heaven and earth through our sacred union. Oh, let me fulfill what lies within the circle of my life this day, and let me be the light. Grant what I need each day in bread and in insight. Give me daily substance from within, that allows my soul to evolve and to be the light of the world. And loose the cords of mistakes binding me as I release the strands I hold of another's guilt. And let me not enter forgetfulness, tempted by false appearances, but free me, oh, free me from my unrightness of my human will. For from your astonishing fire comes the eternal song which blesses and sanctifies all, renewed eternally in my life and throughout all creation. And so it is, and so it shall be, as we affirm amen and amen and amen. Taking a deep breath in, sensing whatever you are reclining on, perhaps moving your hands to the sides of your legs, rubbing your hands together. If it feels right, stretching as you claim it is done, it is done. Taking that deep breath, and when you are ready, behold not only the beauty and the light you are, but behold the beauty that surrounds you. Have a blessed day. It is, like always, has been a pleasure, a great joy to feel your presence, your light, your love. And so I wish you many blessings. Have a wonderful week. Namaste.
Namaste.